No problem. So thank you everyone for joining us. I'm really excited to have you here today. UConn has been working to bring Interstride as a partner for at least 3 years now. So we're really happy that it's actually here, and we're going to be showing you all the awesome features that it has. Interstride's a comprehensive platform designed to help international students navigate their career journey. Today, we'll explore how Interstride can benefit students and how you can refer international students to help enhance their career readiness. So my name's Desiree Martino, and I'm the career coach at the Center for Career Development. And I've been working in the center since 2019, and my primary role has been offering programming and services specifically geared towards international students. Before we begin, I was wondering if you could share in your chat your role at UConn. Are you a faculty member, staff member, graduate assistant, or an employer partner? And Jillian, if you don't mind just mentioning what some of those are when they pop through.
If you feel comfortable with it, you can always just turn your mic on or, say it. You don't have to chat if you don't really want to, but if you don't want to be on our recorded video, no problem.
No worries. All right. So in 2023, UConn has over 3,100 international students in undergraduate and graduate programs. And international students face unique challenges when it comes to pursuing their career goals. So we often hear from international students that they wish to remain in the United States after graduation, and our goal is to support these students in their career journey. So today, my goal is to cover the tools that you'll need to direct international students to find answers to their career questions. And then we'll talk about some of the services that we have on campus to help international students. We'll go all about Interstride and walk you through the important features of the site. And then there'll be time for questions and answers as well. Before we begin, I'd like to provide you with an overview of the support on campus. You may be asking yourself, where do I turn? If a student comes to me with certain questions, do I go to the Center for Career Development, go directly to Interstride, or CISS? So the Center for International Student and Scholar Services is the #1 resource when referring UConn students to legal-related questions, including authorization questions. They offer regular one-on-one advising and then workshops regularly about OPT and CPT. The Center for Career Development offers many important services for international students, including career coaching, career fairs, networking sessions, in-person and virtual sessions, and so much more. And while Interstride provides the resources on many of both of these topics, the immigration and all of the other type of topics that we offer in our sessions, it really should be combined with having students meet with our center and CISS, because we are the ones that are going to be offering the one-on-one coaching and advising. So our career consultants are trained to offer one-on-one career coaching sessions geared specifically to international students. We can tailor our discussions to meet the needs of the group of students. Here's a list of some of the topics that students come to us regularly with. You can see with CV and resume critiques that's somewhere we can help students write a US style resume, which often varies from the CVs and resumes from outside the United States. Also, students come to us very often for practice interviews, and it can be very helpful for an international student to come to us, and we can help them with specific questions such as, are you authorized to work in the United States? So here's a little bit about Interstride. It's so wonderful. It was designed for international students by an international student who went through some of the very same concerns that our international students face on a day-to-day basis looking for a job while they're a student or when they graduate. So recently, the Center for Career Development, together with CISS, launched Interstride, and it helps navigate complex visa regulations, the job market landscape, some of the cultural differences in the workplace. And this is where Interstride comes in to help provide UConn students with the resources they need to overcome some of those challenges and succeed in their careers. And so here's just a slide on the main focuses today will be the job and internship portal, the H-1B sponsorship data information, networking tools, webinars and newsletters, and productivity resources. Okay, and I'm gonna just stop sharing my screen here and pop on over to the actual Interstride. All right, Jillian, are you seeing my Interstride webpage here?
Yep, looks great.
Excellent. Okay, so just to begin, I want to show you the main page, and directly in the center right here, you'll see that there is a huge news listing that is updated daily, sometimes more than one time a day, multiple times a week, but it really has up-to-date information that would be important for international students. So for this one today that they posted was the state of the US labor market. Talks about certification processes that people may need. I'm just going to scroll down. New rules allows F1 visa applications a year in advance. It's just awesome because it would be impossible for UConn to update these type of rules and regulations that are always changing within government. And so it is really nice to have this one-stop shop that students can come to for the latest information. We are also able to customize this page, which is great. So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit further. We recently just had a session, the Center for Career Development, along with Interstride, with CISS. And so here was our networking event that we held. So whenever we have events, we can post them here as well. And it's something we'll be starting to update more frequently as time goes on. So that's our main news page. But I'm going to move up to the top here. And the very top tab, you'll see jobs, network, learn, and tools. And that's where we want to focus most of the demonstration today. So we'll begin with the jobs tab up top. So I'm going to click on jobs, and you'll see right underneath that now it came up with a sub-tabs, search jobs, job alerts, US visa insights, and country insights. So I'll begin by showing you some of these functions of the job section. It is extremely hard for international students to just go ahead and go onto LinkedIn Jobs or Indeed Jobs and find a job because many employers do not hire international students. So here, this Interstride page is just fabulous for that. And it enables students to come here and be able to find jobs from companies that have hired in the past. So just to give you an idea, last year there were over 484,000 applicants for employment-based immigrant visas, and only 132,000 were selected for the 2023 fiscal year. So it is extremely hard for international students to graduate from UConn and then want to stay in the United States. So their best bet would be to find companies that we know are international student friendly. So this job search tool allows students to search for these jobs specifically tailored to international students. And so one of the best part is that it's got the top 500 H-1B jobs in the US. So that's about 70% of employers who have sponsored H-1B. In other words, it's going to give them their best chance of finding that particular company. So we're going to come over to the search section, the search job tab. And it's in the left-hand column under Find Your Job. And I'm just going to go ahead and put in a keyword search. So I'll put in engineer, and then I'm going to keep it here where it says top 500 H-1B. And then I'm going to click search. And it's going to give us a list. You can see it's got 24,702 jobs on here, which is just phenomenal. And if a student were to just go into our Handshake, it would be much more limited, which is our UConn's job platform. But I did want to point out Handshake to you. So this little red icon with shaking hands, and it says Handshake, University of Connecticut. Our University of Connecticut's job platform, Handshake, communicates with Interstride. So if somebody says, I'm interested in hiring international students from UConn, they would go into Handshake and select whether or not they accept OPT or CPT, or whether or not they would authorize H-1B sponsorships. And so this would then connect them to Interstride, and it will open up the doors for our students to be able to search just here. They wouldn't have to go back and forth. So I think that's really helpful. Another component I wanted to show you of the search. So I'm going to come back to the filter, and I'm going to come down on the left-hand side to position, and I'm going to search for internship and apply the changes. A lot of our students can apply to internships anywhere because it doesn't cost a company for an international student to get an internship. It's their responsibility to get OPT or CPT through CISS and apply for that. However, it would be to their benefit to apply for an internship at a company that they could eventually work for so that they could prove themselves and show that they are a hard worker, that they have the skills and competencies that they need. So we are encouraging students to take a look here first for internships before applying elsewhere. And then the only other thing I want to show you on this particular page in the search is students, if they want to work remotely, they could also put in the word remote. And if I hover over this one here, you can see remote is in the blue box, remote at Finta. Each of those should have remote in the parentheses. So it's very easy for them to find remote jobs. They can separate it out by state, city, type of position as we discussed, and so forth. Okay, I'm going to come back up to the top to the job section here. And job alerts, that's self-explanatory. Students can set up alerts for these positions that they may be interested in. And then I'm going to come over to the right to the third one over and to US Visa Insights. So this one is extremely helpful as well. As we mentioned, these students are going to want to research what type of jobs that they're interested in. And so here it's going to give us the companies that have sponsored international students in the past. So you see here, Amazon has put in for 17,537 petitions. Cognizant is high up there, Google, Microsoft, Ernst & Young. So it makes sense for international students to put in the industry that they're looking for. So I'll just give you an example. I'm going to come back to this left-hand side filter, search and filter. And I'm going to come down and I'm going to search by industry. And I'll just come to one that's close, biotech and pharmaceutical. And I hit search. And I'll come back up to the top and it's going to show you the biggest in the United States right now is Amgen Corporation, and they had 678 petitions. Then a student could go in and view it to see what types of positions they're hiring for or have hired for in the past. This one shows you a senior manager, data engineer, scientist. There's going to be lots of scientists in this area, senior associate of process development, specialist IS architect. So it will help the student to go through and research everything about their industry that they're interested in going into and then finding these companies this way. I'm going to pause here, and could you let me know, Jillian, if there's any questions? You're welcome to put it in the chat or raise your hand. Just go ahead and unmute yourself if you have any questions about the searching component of the platform. Okay, then I will continue on. So there's one other section of the job platform that I want to show you, and that is Country Insights. So on this sub bar here, I'm going to click on Country Insights. And I'm going to come down, and this is helpful. Country Insights is going to give us information about countries outside the United States. So I'm just going to put in Canada. There it is. And it's going to show you, it's going to provide an overview about Canada. It's going to give some information about it and come down. You'll see it has sections on visa and work permits, housing, healthcare, education, just in case they want to go on for a graduate degree, working and living. It's very helpful for our students to get an indication of the culture that they would be moving to. So this whole area would be very helpful. So this can be used for not just our international students, but our domestic students as well. If any of them are interested in going abroad for their first job, their next job, it'd be great for them to explore this webpage to learn more about what they can expect. We find that it's important for international students to have backup plans. If they do not secure the visa that they need to be able to stay here, they should have another plan. So whether it's returning to their home country or exploring other places that they may want to go work and live, and then they can always try and come back here in the future. Okay, so that's the job section. And so now we're going to go all the way back up to the very top, right next to jobs, and I'm going to explore the network section with you. So right underneath the top tab of network, I'm going to come to the sub tabs here and click on Discover Network. So the Mentor Network features is an excellent way for students to connect with peers and potentially experienced professionals, which would be UConn alumni. So they can provide guidance and support to navigate the job search process. It's a feature that can help students build their professional network and gain valuable insight into the job market and develop the skills and knowledge they need to succeed in their career. So I'm just fascinated by how quickly this is being populated. We just launched Interstride about a month ago, and we already have so many students that have started participating in this network. So on the left-hand filter, I'm just going to select a country, and we have many students that come from China. So I'm just going to put in China and hit apply. And then I'm going to scroll down just to show you how many students from China have already joined this network, and it just keeps going. And it's great because you can see underneath this student here, this student is actual science major from China, and they will be graduating the class of 2023. And we just recently also invited alumni to join this. And if I come down here, over here, you can see in this blue, it says alumni. So it shows that this student, this alumni is willing to connect with our current students, and they can message one another. And our hope is that as this continues to be built throughout the future, that our alumni can serve as mentors, or even just it's very helpful for our current students to feel that they're not alone. These students went down this path and secured jobs, possibly in the United States. And so they can connect with them to understand what is the process that they went through, what are some of the challenges that they face, and so forth. So that's the network section. And then we can go up to the Learn section up at the top next to the network. And this section is just absolutely phenomenal. I'm just blown away by the amount of resources that is in here. It's separated out into 4 different sections underneath the sub tab. So the first one is webinars. So I'm just going to show you a couple of them today, what's available. So there are webinars live and on demand. So I'm just going to click on the on demand and show you a couple of them. So a deep dive into the H-1B sponsorship is one. This next one, a job search strategy for international students. I have found this one to be extremely helpful. When I first started at UConn, I joined it to listen to it's the owner of Interstride, the original creator, and he really provided so much insight to me that I've actually listened to it a second time a couple years later. It just touches on so many different things, and it's been updated over time. So this is really one that we encourage all students to listen to. And then sponsoring your first H-1B. So it's really great for employers can come on here and learn stuff in addition to students. So those are the webinars, and they are consistently being updated. I'm going to come back up to the sub tab and go over to resources. And this one, if you come over, we've got to come back over to the left-hand side, and you'll see the tab of categories. And so just going to show you a couple of them. So the first one is job search process, and wanted to highlight that here the Center for Career Development is also able to put all of our resources on there. So we're going to start loading them as time goes on. But just to give you an example, we have a career fair coming up in just a couple weeks. So we posted one of our blogs that was written about preparing for the career fair. International students may not be familiar with what the word fair is. They may think that that's like a carnival type of fair. So we talk about what a career fair is. How do you prepare for a career fair? And what do you wear the day of a career fair? All of that type of stuff. So it's really nice that we're able to seamlessly add our content to the resource page as well. Underneath the job search process, you'll see mistakes made by international students. As I mentioned in the beginning, it is extremely challenging to find jobs not just find jobs, find internships, search for them. So it's really helpful to hear some of the challenges that students before them have faced. So some of the mistakes that they may have made so they can possibly prevent those same mistakes. So there's a whole list of them here. Just to give you an idea, we've got common mistakes, missing OPT deadlines. The deadlines for all of the different applications, applying for the visa, applying for OPT, CPT, it is so essential that if they miss some of them, they have to wait many months. If like applying for H-1B, all of that could take a full year if you miss the deadlines on a yearly basis. The second one down here is no backup employment plan. This is what I know the creators of Interstride have emphasized, that, maybe you might need not just a plan A, B, but also maybe even a plan C. So talking about what some of those options might be. Communicating effectively is another big one. English is not always a first language for our international students. So talking to them about communicating effectively, learning about the different cultures within the United States, businesses is very helpful for international students. So trying to take some of these things and spend some time and having our students look at them is really helpful. And I'm just going to come back over to the left-hand side to show you more. Again, if you go down to the next line, the interview, the Center for Career Development has a preparation for the job interview tip sheet that students can look at. It really goes through some of those specific things that I was mentioning about preparing for an interview, how to answer some of the specific questions that students are going to get when they are in the interview process, specifically about authorization. They may get some other questions about some of the assets they have. We want them to highlight and be confident about some of the wonderful things that they bring as an international student to the job market. And then scroll down, you can see that there's so many more. We don't need to go into each of them, but it's LinkedIn resources, networking, CPT, OPT, and STEM OPT. They also offer podcasts regularly. You really need to click on each one to see what they're about, but it is great to hear from people outside of Interstride as well. All right, so that's the majority of the resources, the most important things underneath the Learn section. And then the final section that I just wanted to show you is the tools. So I'm coming back up to the top bar here, clicking on tools, and then they've got a couple options. I'll show you the career game plan in a second, but the checklist is just to help students stay in line with what do they need to be doing now? Have they gone ahead and started working on the job search process, just keeping them informed. And then I wanted to show you the career game plan. We were really excited to see that Interstride has also adopted the NACE career competencies. So it provides a test for students to have, to see where they stand on the 8 career competencies, being career and self-development, communication, critical thinking, equity, inclusion, leadership, professionalism, teamwork, and technology. So it's just important for them to see that, UConn's been using these NACE competencies for quite a few years now. And so it's wonderful that Interstride is incorporating them as well for the international students that we have here at UConn. So that's basically the Interstride platform in a nutshell. So I wanted to pause with some questions, and I'll also be dropping in the chat a link so that you could also start to join if you haven't already, and play around with it yourself now that you've seen a little bit about what it has to offer. So I will go ahead and stop sharing, and then you could feel free to unmute yourself or put a question in the chat if you want me to show you something else within the site. I'm happy to walk through if you were confused by something. I am happy to jump back over to a specific section, or if you just wanted to see a little bit more of the site, I'm happy to walk through any part of it. Okay. How is this being marketed to students? So students received an email from our department letting them know about it. We've been posting in Soapbox regularly to the international student site, as well as the graduate school. We have a lot of our graduate students are international students as well. So we've been posting it there, and it was also emailed out to alumni. So we'll be regularly, we wrote a blog about it, and then throughout the Soapbox, we've been basically in the Daily Digest putting bits and pieces about each of the different sections, and if you want to learn more. And then we're going to be doing demonstrations throughout the next couple months as well for students that are interested in learning more, in addition to playing around by themselves. Thank you for the question. What other questions could I answer? Okay, so I have this link here. It's super long, but you're welcome to copy it and paste it into a browser if you want. And you'll see it's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to ask you if you are a faculty versus a student and a couple other things, but you'll be able to use your single sign-on through UConn. So everything should be populated pretty seamlessly if you have the single sign-on. Okay, so if I don't have any other questions, I'm just going to put up my contact information. If anybody has any questions, here's my email address, and I can turn it back over to Jillian.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for attending this awesome training, this super cool platform. I just wanted to give a quick announcement and put also another link in the chat for you. That if you haven't joined the Career Champion program, we would love to have you. If you've attended this training, you're already doing the work of a Career Champion, so you may as well submit that form and get a free t-shirt. We just like to provide everyone who's already working with students with more resources. We're working on getting our modules on Blackboard up and running, and always updating those. So we're always trying to get you, the most up-to-date information in your dealings with students. But other than that, yeah, just thanks so much, Desiree. This was a great training, and thank you everyone for attending. We can end it there.
Great. Thank you,
Thanks so much.
Jillian. Thanks for coming today.